Okay, so in a previous video, this is the historical bike build. And in the previous video, I went ahead and cut up the top bar of this female bicycle. And I just wanted to show a video about how to use some very common tools. I'm just using a regular grinder or a cutoff wheel. This is just the standard kind of 4 or 4 1/4 inch that's readily available. This one happens to be a DeWalt. I got it at Home Depot for a little bit over $100, maybe 125 or something. But you can get one of these at Harbor Freight for under 20 bucks. Super handy. And what I'm doing is I'm just cutting off the little nub from that top bar that was cut off. And that top bar is going to be in the way of where we put the engine. And I'm actually going to reattach that top bar at a later point. But if you notice this with this tool, and I'm not a professional, I'm just a hobbyist, so I try to keep a lot of these videos, down to what most people could afford, or maybe some entry-level type of tools. And just with a few techniques, you can actually use these tools for various different purposes. So what I like to do on here is hold it at an angle if I'm going to grind a part down and try to make it smooth. Just hold it at an angle, move it, try to keep it going and moving, because if you keep it in one spot, you'll cut a groove in there, and you don't want that. So keep it facing away from you, and you probably should use some safety equipment, some gloves and some eye protection. So keep that in mind. Okay, so up here in the front part of the bike, I think this is called the front pole. You might recall from the previous video, we had to remove a chunk out of this area in order to accommodate the different size of the new shock absorber forks that we have on the front there. And I did a weld all the way around. I am not the best welder at all, and my equipment for welding is just complete entry level. It's one of those Harbor Freight Chicago Electric flux core welders. Just operates off of a 110 volt standard electrical outlet. But it does the job. But you will need to go back in and grind down the imperfections. I don't even think like a professional welder can use one of those things and get a good result as they can with higher quality equipment. But same type of technique here, just using the standard grinder with a standard thin cutoff wheel, and just feathering down the welds all the way around to make it nice and smooth. And I think in here I actually had a little area where one of the welds didn't quite go all the way through, and you'll find sometimes when you do this, it'll be a small little area, a little hole. You can just go back and hit it one more time or 2 times with the welder and come back out. I think I just pointed it out right there. And fill it in with the welder, and then just bring it back out and grind it again. It's pretty simple. This is a hobby, so you're not really doing this to make money necessarily, so there's no huge time constraints on it. So just take your time, and you can use these basic tools that you can use for a lot of other things that you would have in your toolbox anyway, for actual projects or actual construction. And these things will last you a long time. But you'd be surprised at the results that you can get with just these commonly available tools, and just with a little bit of practice, you guys can make it look really nice. So one of the things that I like to make sure of when I'm using this grinder is I always try to make sure that the sparks are flying away from me. You know, these grinders, you know, they rotate in one direction, and you can just hold it one way or the other and just make sure it's not, you know, flying back at you or flying into, you know, something dangerous or something that could get damaged somehow, especially like, you know, flammable liquids or, you know, maybe paper or leaves or something like that. But definitely keep it so it's rotating away from your face and anything sensitive. Okay, so we have this mounting bracket now, and this is to be mounted either on the front or the back. I'll have to take a look and see how the engine is on that. But it's a pretty substantial mounting bracket. It's you know, plate metal, and then that looks like cast iron. And it comes with these little screws here. So I'm going to go ahead and put some Loctite on these and thread these in here. And then it has these other brackets here, but I think these are going to be too wide. So to make a good fitting on there, I might have to do something about these brackets. But I can still put these screws in and secure them nice and tight in there. So I'll do that. Okay. So I got the mounting plate on, and it's totally loose. So I'm gonna have to do something about that back there. And as you can see, it's just way loose. These brackets, these, you know, quote unquote universal brackets, sometimes they're not so universal. But I wanted to see, they have these slots here, and there's some corresponding screws that go inside here and then match up in the bottom of the engine. And I wanted to see where that goes on there. I think that looks pretty good. Kind of like that. And then, oh, I don't know, to be honest with you. That might be a little, that looks kind of high, doesn't it? Man, am I going to have to do some more fabbing on that? Because I want to put that tank here. Well, maybe it'll go up to here, that tank. Now, let's see here. I'm going to make a little mark as to where that will go. That's basically there. And then here. Again, we're going to paint that, so it doesn't really matter. That'll be basically the line. Maybe a little higher than that. Where that bar is going to go across there. Yeah. All right. I think we can make some clearance there. Okay. Okay, so here you can actually see that top bar that was part of the girl's bike that went down into the center, and I went ahead and welded that to the top of the frame, and I didn't record it, so I apologize about that. But it turned out like pretty good. You know, that top bar was down further, you know, because it was a girl's bike. Chopped it out with the grinder, and then earlier in the video you saw just, you know, smoothing out the nubbins, which was left from the bar getting chopped out. And then I just went ahead and moved it up higher and cut it to size a little bit and welded it in. So, you know, same procedure, different part of the bike, just got to go in and with any kind of like imperfections or, you know, welding spots that didn't turn out how you wanted, you know, you can use this grinder. And, you know, notice how I'm holding it at a really shallow angle there. And even at the tight spots right there, you can get in there with that cutoff wheel. Make sure you don't press too far in. You know, it's better to you know, take a little bit off at a time, so you don't have to make a gouge, or you don't have to fill back in later with something else. You know, the idea is just to make it smooth. You're not trying to, like, you know, doing anything structural at this point. So here you can get a real good view of how that top bar got cut out and put in a new position. And I went ahead and measured this too off camera, so there would be enough room not only to have the engine in place, but also for the future location of the custom gas tank that we're going to be making out of a fire extinguisher, which is going to be pretty cool. But another main point of this video is just to show like how much fabrication and prep goes into these bikes. Some other videos, which are great videos, they'll show you like a before and after, and they'll condense it into 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and it's kind of like the average length for a YouTube video. In reality, it takes a lot more work than just 10 or 15 minutes to do this kind of work. So I kind of wanted to make this video to show that there's a lot more elbow work going into here, and than just those other videos typically show. Okay, I'm just putting the final touches on this area here where that top bar was welded, near the location of where the new seat pole is going to go. I think you're going to like how that seat pole and the seat rests on there. It's going to look really cool, really low and slick. But check out the next video in this series for the completion of the build. Thanks for watching.